The PMDB video series established 2010. God, I miss those days walking through a pub like that. What do you mean you can no longer appear on PMDB videos? I've been listening to old pop songs, trying to get motivated to talk about fake fights. Even for Backlash 2000 is a 7 out of 10 show and one of the most memorable shows due to all the shenanigans that go on in the main event. But I would just love to be at Cheers right now. Yes, I said it, with Gary, Ralph, Fergus, Jonathan, Lee, everybody, because, I've had good nights out too, believe it or not. But even the most worst nights out in the world are heaven compared to the trash we've all went through this year. So let's get on with the show, shall we? I'm supposed to we? Who's we? I'm supposed to be talking about Backlash 2000. It was the second annual show. Here are my top five. All my top five consist of the individuals that were involved with the main event. There was, it was a mediocre show up until the main event. One of the highlight matches was Big Show versus Kurt Angle, with Big Show coming out dressed as Hulk Hogan to real American music. Anytime you hear real American music anywhere, it just puts me in an instantly good mood. Love that. That's my favorite theme song of all time. In fact, in my 10th video on here, I named it as my number one wrestling theme song ever. It's neck and neck with Jive Soul Bro. Anyways, back on to Backlash. I've lost my train of thought here. Thinking too much, listening to old pop songs like PSY, Gentleman, and the Gangman style, trying to get motivation for this. Started thinking about old nights out, and yeah, losing track again. But yeah, in fifth place is a special guest referee, Shane McMahon. He won, the selling point of this show was the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Shane McMahon and Gerald Briscoe, who just misses out my top five here, they took that steel chair shot with courage. A lot of wrestlers put their hands up before they get the chair shot, but Gerald Briscoe took it, Shane McMahon took it, even Vince took it, but Gerald Briscoe's chair shot and Shane's chair shot looked the most stiff. It was, the most amusing part of the show was the return of Steve Austin, who would have been number one had he been in it longer, but I think that would have been criminal to have Steve Austin number one. Definitely deserves the third spot here above Mr. McMahon in fourth place, as this whole selling point was the return of Steve Austin. Even though it was a brief return, it was still a memorable moment nevertheless. So the actual wrestlers that were wrestling in the main event, Triple H and The Rock, get my number one and two spots. The Rock, this was his WrestleMania moment that he never got at WrestleMania. This is probably what should have happened at WrestleMania, but it got postponed until Backlash. The good guy finally prevailing against the bad guy in this situation, Triple H. The Rock, this was his best run in the company. Triple H, this was also his best run, as I've mentioned in a previous video, Backlash. The year 2000 was very good for Triple H and The Rock, and with Austin absent for most of it, by far the two best wrestlers on the roster were The Rock and Triple H. They really carried the company, and this whole main event involving the five I've mentioned, and Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, I think Stephanie was there also. All the ingredients, all the shenanigans made it a very memorable main event. And the pop for Steve Austin, when that glass shatters, the pop for him was just something else. Anyway, that's my top five for Backlash. I'm going to do a wee top 5 for Insurrection, a wee bonus in this video. My next video will be on my second, sometimes main channel, PaulMDB, and in that video, I'm going to talk about Judgment Day 2000, the wrestling show. So that should be fun. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video and me talking about old times. That's it. I found a random set of small YouTuber questions. Here's my quick 5 for Insurrection 2000. Why am I doing a quick 5 for this show? Because this is really a non-canon. Nobody cares about Insurrection 2000 UK exclusive pay-per-views unless it's called One Night Only. In 5th place, Chris Benoit. 4th place, Kurt Angle. 3rd place, Shane McMahon. 2nd place, Triple H. 1st place, The Rock. This was a very unmemorable show. I think there was a triple threat match between The Rock, Triple H, and Shane McMahon. It was probably entertaining with considering who was involved, but overall, don't remember much about this show, and I really don't like talking about these non-canon UK exclusive pay-per-views. But I would feel incomplete if I hadn't, talked about every show, every pay-per-view show in the pay-per-view section of the WWE Network. I don't like feeling incomplete. So there you have it, my top 5 for Insurrection 2000. Can't wait for Rebellion. Woo!